What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, how to raise money for your product, for your project, for your idea, for your vision, how to bring a new idea into the world, a new product into the world that other people can buy and own, whether that's a physical product or something like a tabletop game, or it could be a new service, an app, right? Whatever it is, we talk about crowdfunding and different ways to actually accomplish that. And in today's video, I actually want to get more into the nuts and bolts of starting and setting up a business. So this could be a business related to e-commerce. This could be a business related to selling products online. This could be a business related to maybe in the future doing retail. It could be a service-based business. It really doesn't matter. But the reason why I wanted to actually talk about this today is because it's freaking confusing, and in kind of my hallmark fashion, I want to demystify this for you. And actually, this is one of the questions I got recently from multiple students that are inside my mastermind community. So I think this is worth talking about. I wanted to go into it in depth. Think of this as a lecture or a class. Get your popcorn, get a Diet Coke, and join me today because we're talking about how to actually set up your online business, and we're getting into it in just a second. Okay, brother. So first of all, thank you so much for tuning into this channel. And if you have been watching some of my other videos, give me a thumbs up so that other people know this is worth their time. So setting up an online business, setting up a business that not only talking about like a business bank account, but also actually incorporating an entity, having something that's independent of you. It's one of those like hallmark trials or tribulations that every business owner has to go through. And many of you might be interested in maybe building a brand. You might be interested in getting something from scratch, really building a product out of thin air and getting that into other people's hands. But chances are you might also want to build a profitable company. You want to build a business. And unfortunately, this is one of the biggest areas that gives many of my students headache and many people a sense of anxiety is actually going through this process because it is freaking confusing, man. So that's what I want to talk about today and get into in this particular video. We're going to be going through it through a lecture style. Lecture style is really just going through my screen and kind of showing you guys how this works. And lastly, I'm going to include some of my links down below for those of you that are interested in discovering some of the websites that we talk about here today. So first of all, if you are interested in setting up a business, if you're interested in setting up a corporation, an entity, a bank account, if you're really trying to set up the infrastructure or the foundation of what's going to be an incredibly prosperous future for you, not only selling a product multiple times over, but maybe even one day having a brand, having people work for you, this is kind of like the most incredible or the most valuable piece of the puzzle, right? So the first thing is that when you come to a website, for example, think about your state. So if you're located in Florida, you're located in New York, you're located in California, whenever you're setting up a business entity, you have to go to your state's website. And this is so incredibly important because that's where the accurate information is when it comes to setting up any kind of online business or any kind of entity. And the most important thing as well is that you also consult a legal advisor, you consult a tax advisor. I am neither of these, and that is my official declaration. I am not a CPA. I'm not a legal advisor of any kind. I'm not a lawyer, right? So you really need to consult yours. This is more of my opinion. This is more of the steps that I would recommend or think about going through before you consult one of these professionals. So first of all, you would want to think about where do you want to actually incorporate as a company, right? So you're thinking about the state, maybe in terms of if you're forming an LLC or you're thinking about a corporation, you want to think about the state in which you are actually incorporating or forming a company, a legal entity. So if you come here, you can see there's a lot of information. There's a lot of confusing information, right? They obviously did not have a designer who designed this actual website, but they have some supporting documents here, starting a business, the types of business. So you basically want to Google and go to your state's website and really find out what is their recommended process for setting up a entity. So the steps would first be really thinking about the entity which you want to set up, because kind of everything is going to flow from that. So there's different types of entities, for example, LLCs, there's corporations, there's nonprofits, there's limited partnerships, right? And kind of the role of a business owner is to understand what type of entity they want to set up. And there are various benefits and drawbacks to each of these. I would say that from a compliance standpoint, probably setting up an LLC is one of the easiest ones to do. If you're setting up a new LLC in the state in which you're actually founding this, typically most people that are setting up like a single member LLC or just one owner, for example, with the LLC, is probably doing it in the state in which they reside. Once you get more into corporations, there's a little bit more benefits to maybe incorporating in a state in which you are not a resident, for example, in Delaware, right? Or maybe there's some more favorable legal reasons or more standardized legal reasons when it comes to that. So you're going to be thinking, first of all, about the entity in which you want to set up. Now, there's a lot of information here going through how to actually do this, online filing, so doing this by mail, all these different forms, and this can be a huge headache, right? If we come down to here, and I've seen other states that have even worse, right, explanations here, you can see the amount at least it's going to cost you to set up a new LLC in the state of Florida. So in order to set up a new LLC in the state of Florida, number one, you're going to have to file what are called articles of organization. Those are basically kind of like the founding document, and you do have to renew this every single year. So you're going to have articles of organization. You're going to have a registered agent. This is the person who's designated to actually receive the mail of your company. That could be you, or that could be someone who's located within the state, or a service that specifies in registered agents. So for example, if you don't want people to come into your home or your house and delivering mail, right, for your company, you could obviously have a registered agent. And then there's some other options, and I do recommend getting these as well. Certified copies, certificate of status. It really helps you also just keep some really good records. And to be honest, one of the most boring pieces of being a business owner, my friends, is keeping accurate, comprehensive records. It is so boring. It is such a bore, man. But it's one of those things that you got to do if you want to keep your ducks in a row. So you can see here, in order to form a new LLC in the state of Florida, it would be $160, which does not break the bank for many of you. For many of you, you do have these cash reserves to be able to handle that, or what I'm going to be talking about in a little bit, which is a credit card. However, actually, what I want to talk about now is a way to streamline this and make this even easier. So if you came here and you're like, I came to my company website, I'm not exactly sure what I should do. I want to make sure that I'm compliant. I want to make sure that I'm doing the right stuff. I want to share with you an incredible resource that's going to make this completely easy and seamless. And we're going to kind of talk about some of the pros and the cons of using this resource. So this is going to be, for those of you that are interested in this resource, I do have to make this mention that this is a paid resource. So this is something where if you go through this link and you end up actually using the service, I will get a small commission at no expense to you. And we just put that honestly right back into creating more great videos for you guys and having great content and educational materials out there. It's extremely small, right, when it comes to that. So the service that I'm talking about is called incfile. So if you're not familiar with incfile, this is a really great service to actually get an idea up and running quickly and have all of the tools, all the forms, all the things filled out basically for you, almost done for you in a very seamless, easy to present format, and to do it quickly. So what you do here is you come here to incfile. I'm just gonna go over a couple of different steps here, and then we're gonna get more as well into the business bank account and some of those things. So again, I had a guy come to me and he was like, dude, I'm just so scared about setting up an entity. I've never done it before. I've been thinking about this for a couple of years now. I just never really pulled the trigger on this. This is what I call analysis paralysis. It's someone who's stuck in their head. It's someone who has that mental roadblock where they don't want to deal with a piece of work because they don't know how to go out and attack that piece of work, right? Once you understand how to do it, it's very easy for you to figure that out. And it takes you literally 30 minutes when it was taking you years in your head of delay and delay and delay. It's one of the most powerful ways to move past this procrastination, which sets all of us back. So anyway, you come here to incfile, right? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick the right entity. So there's different pros and cons, like I said, to each of these, and you can read through this on your own time. There's some really great documentation on incfile, which I'll include as a link down below at crowdcrux.com/incfile. You choose the entity type and of course the state in which you would like to incorporate, which is what I mentioned before. So for example, if you're living in New York, maybe you're going to choose a certain entity type like an LLC, and maybe you're going to choose New York as the state in which you would like to incorporate in. Depending on the state in which you incorporate in, there are actually different fees. So for example, if you're living in a state like Massachusetts, the fees of incorporating are actually much higher than having an incorporation in a state like Florida. So there are some differences there, but you're going to choose, and you can see here as well, some of the state LLC guides. Once you do that, you're then going to select a formation package. So there's more information here. If you're just going to do the basic formation package, it actually costs you $0. So you pay only the state's fee to register your business. The gold and the platinum is really where incfile begins to actually generate some significant benefits for you, which I'm going to get into in just a second. You got to tell this service a little bit about your business. This is incredibly useful, particularly if you're just starting to think about this and you got to get all this like organized in a row. They have a lot of very easy forms for you to actually just fill out to kind of inform them about what your business is. And then you place your order and they start to prepare all that documentation. They check if your business name is actually available, and you get all of that in one simple tool. Now, when I first heard about this, obviously I was naturally skeptical, and it does take a lot of work to actually set up an LLC, and it's always annoying and painstaking. So if you want to go here, and even on your own time, you can go and look through some of the different reviews that are out there of people who have used this service, and they are glowing, my friends. I think one of the big negatives is honestly just the fact that you could do this yourself. One of the biggest cons here, and this is actually cited by Forbes, is that if you wanted to, you could just set this up yourself. And I showed you the website in which you can do that. And it's true, it's going to cost you a small fee, right, to do it yourself. It's going to cost you $0 to do it with incfile, but they're also going to have to pay that state's fee, right, to actually register this. So you could technically do this yourself. I think it's just a little bit of an easier user interface. I was actually thinking about that when I was traveling the other day. Dude, I was traveling and I was booking with an airline, and I'm like, oh, it's so clunky to use this airline's web interface. And that's actually why I love using other kind of intermediary tools, right, to actually book travel with like Google Flights, etc., because it's just so much easier. Like it's better, well thought out UI. But that's a tangent. Anyway, to get back to this, so the biggest downside, I would say, again, is the fact that you could technically do this yourself. However, there is that free tier as well if you just want to try out some of their services. In terms of a couple more reviews here, we got Trustpilot. I love Trustpilot. Really some great reviews as well. People saying that it's quick filing time, good to process, transparent with pricing. There's some other perks as well. You know, this person actually is so hugely correct, which is the fact that starting a small business is so confusing and frustrating. And as a business owner, you have so many different hats and roles to play. So this kind of allows us to be a little bit more streamlined and kind of take that a little bit off your plate. So let's get back here into what you're going to have to do in terms of filing this. Okay. So first of all, if you're going to be filing this, you really need to think about starting the entity and where you want to incorporate. So if you made it to this point in the video, my man, give this video a thumbs up because you are making progress and you are very close to setting up your very first business entity, which is again like a trial or tribulation for many people out there. I think it's almost like a mark of progress. It's an initiation ritual for every business owner to set up their first business entity. It's one of the coolest things. It's one of the most fun things. And literally no one other than another business owner will understand just how cool it is to be able to set up your own company, right? So anyway, you decide what corporation you'd like, an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, nonprofit. You then also decide what state you would actually like to file this in. You come down here and you decide which actual plan that you want to file under. Again, there is absolutely zero package fee if you're just going to be going with the silver tier. So all these guys are doing are just making it a little bit easier for you. Those entrepreneurs, those creative types, those innovators, those inventors, those people in my audience, it makes you easier. It makes you $0. All you got to do is you got to pay the state's fee in order to actually do this. Others, in terms of what it includes, you have name searches, preparing the articles of organization. You also have a free registered agent for a year. This is probably going to, if they do a free, it's probably going to charge you after this. Registered agents are actually pretty inexpensive, and it's usually on an annual kind of basis. And that registered agent is going to do things like upload your mail for you. If you do get business mail, they're going to scan that. It just kind of keeps it a little bit separate from some of your own home's mail and that kind of stuff. For those of you that do have a little bit of a budget and you want to streamline this even more, and you don't want to hire an expensive lawyer who's going to bill you like $1,000 or $2,000 to set this up, you could also consider one of these other packages. So for example, the gold package, you can see here, they charge you a $324 one-time fee, and that's the state fee plus the package fee. So you're going to have to pay the state fee anyway. You're just paying a simple package fee. So what do you get in terms of the gold tier? Well, first of all, you're going to get the same things as above, which is filling the articles of organization, unlimited name searches, a registered agent. You're also going to get an EIN business tax number. Now, what the heck is an EIN business tax number? My man, when I first heard about this, my head was spinning. It was so confusing because you have like your social security number. What is this EIN business tax number? Well, really all it is basically to track all the revenue when it comes into your business. This way, you can have a separate employer identification number in terms of the IRS. So they can actually more easily track your revenue and separate that from you as an individual. So it's a good thing because, again, it separates you from the business. And that's the whole goal with being a business owner, is you want maximum liability protection and really to make it so that we are completely separate from that business as much as possible. And they also have a form, IRS form 2553. I believe that's related to incorporating as an S Corp. I'm not going to get into that in that video. You can correct me if I'm wrong. They also give you the operating agreement. The operating agreement is something you're going to have to file. You're going to need as well for things like setting up a business bank account. That just really just kind of dictates who's going to own different pieces of the business, who gets to make say, kind of like that. If you're a solo owner, it doesn't really, is not going to impact you that much. Some other ones here, you're going to have lifetime company alerts. You're going to have online dashboard, business banking account if you want, business tax consultation, some things to just help you out when it comes to getting this up and running. running with the gold package. So the biggest difference you're going to get here when it comes to the platinum versus the gold. So there are a couple of things. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more access and support naturally, and you're going to get a lot more when it comes to actually kind of setting up this business. So for example, if you're setting up a business, there's the actual like LLC formation and bank account and tax stuff and all those things, but you got to get a domain name. You need a business email, right? This is going to help you set up when it comes to some basic business contracts. It's going to expedite your filing. And also you're going to, like I said, going to get a domain name, which is one of the most important things. Dude, I've had students who will try to grab, right, their actual name, their doing business as name, or they'll register an LLC, and then they try to register the domain name like a week later or even 2 weeks later, or they put it off for months. They try to register it, and guess what? Someone else has bought their domain name. And that sucker, oh my gosh, that guy is such a pain in the ass. He's just sitting on that domain name, waiting and waiting for that next person to then come to him and be like, hey, I need this domain name. And then they will upcharge you, right? So people will actually watch what business names are filed, what LLCs are filed. They'll look at those names, and then they will quickly go out there and they'll grab the domain name, right? So then you have to pay even higher fee to be able to acquire that domain name from that person when you could have just gotten it and it was like $9, right? So that's something I've learned the hard way, and a lot of my students have also learned that lesson. So if you are interested, I do think this is a good package. It's a little bit obviously pricey, but still you're gonna have to pay the state fee anyway. So this is $424. I think it's pretty reasonable for getting all of this in terms of a package. So first of all, what I mentioned today, and you just immediately learned how to actually set up a business entity, how to do it yourself, or how to use this service to do it for free. Or if you really want to enhance that package, a way to be able to get this up and running and to check off multiple items from your to-do list with one go, and really just have all of this done for you. So you discover a simple service, a tool to be able to do that. And we'll include that link down below at crowdcrux.com/incfile. That link will take you to this website. And again, you'll get a small commission at absolutely no expense to you if you do end up doing one of the paid versions. That's crowdcrux.com/incfile. Nice way to kind of thank us and also invest into producing even better content, even better podcasts and books for you, and that way help you out with your journey. And that actually really sinks in nicely to one of my resources, which, man, I have spent so much time in my life trying to get this together for you. So one of the things when it comes to setting up a business and marketing and really trying to do a Kickstarter campaign or e-commerce campaign is just knowing what you got to do, having a blueprint which you can follow. If you're the first individual in human history to try to build a house, it's going to be so turmoil. It's going to be so much work. It's going to be so much, gosh, you might end up not even building a house, right? It's going to be this lopsided figure. You're going to forget when it comes to installing certain walls. You're going to do it correctly. You have to do lots of trial and error. And eventually, human beings figured out how to make a house. And you know how they start with making a house is they have a blueprint. So if you really want the blueprint to set up a rock solid Kickstarter campaign, one that's going to launch, propel out there, get you instant funding, and in that way be able to trend well on the Kickstarter marketplace, attract the attention of strangers, this is one of the best investments which you can make, which is the Kickstarter launch formula, the crowdfunding handbook for startups, filmmakers, and independent creators. I include a link to that book, which I wrote and also read with all of my passion and enthusiasm. Some of you guys out there, you love to go out there and go for runs, or you love to maybe go and work on your car, or maybe even like to do other stuff like tinker with your invention. You kind of like to listen and learn at the same time. This is a great way to do that using Audible. And Audible has this awesome promotion where if you go through the link down below, I believe it's crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. If you go to that link, you can actually get this book for free. You can try it for free. If you get a free trial of Audible, you will be able to grab a copy of the Kickstarter launch formula. Now, I have other people out there and like, Sal, gosh, you're talking about plugging a book. Gosh, how are you promoting your work? How are you promoting your products? Wasn't this supposed to be a free educational video for me, right? And they get really angry and they leave comments on my YouTube videos. So for that person out there who right now is like, gosh darn it, Sal, why are you promoting this content? I got a free course for you. All you got to do is go to the link down below, right below the book, and you'll be able to access my free Kickstarter training videos. You'll get unlimited access to this. You just got to enter your name and email, and you'll start getting emails from me warming you up exactly what you got to do in order to hit it big with a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign. So no more complaining, no more excuses. You have no reason not to take action, my friend. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfill Right today. Link in the description. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the business bank accounts. You've done this, you've gone through this process, you've registered your LLC or your company. Now you're like, okay, what do I got to do next, right? If you went through the full package, you now have to go and get your EIN, you have to do all this other stuff. You didn't get the full package, but if you already did that, then you have everything basically that you need to begin the next phase, which is one of the most exciting phases, which is setting up your own business bank account. Now, unfortunately, because there are different states and different service providers, and some of you might use Chase or TD Bank or a local bank, right? There are many different processes to go through this. But from a very high level, you're going to want to think about, one, what is the bank in which you're going to choose for your business bank account? Now, I think it would be great to, in some way, kind of be related to your personal account. A lot of the times, if you open up a business account with your bank, it will also waive a lot of the fees for that business if you already have some funds in your personal account. The reason why you want to set up a business bank account, and this isn't something you have to do to get started, but at some point you probably should, is to create separation between you, the individual, and the entity, which is the business. It also makes accounting a heck of a lot easier, my friends. And accounting is one of those subjects that's already so confusing and complicated that you don't want to make it even more so. So for example, I come here to TD Bank, you can come here and you can literally open an account online. How cool is that? We have people that are in my class and they're like, dude, I've been struggling. Like, I'm so scared about going into the bank office because I'm a newcomer, I'm a new entrepreneur, I'm maybe only 25 or 23 years old. Are they going to even look at me as a presentable person? Like, are they going to allow me to open up a bank account? My friend, you can do this online if you want to, right? Or you could obviously go into a local branch if you do want to. And you might have to do that at some point in time when it comes to identity verification, or if there are certain questions when it comes to your account. So you can come here, for example, and you can see that with TD Bank, there's a monthly fee of $30 or $0. There are ways to actually waive your monthly fee. So this, for example, will be having a combined balance, for example, where we have different checking accounts here that you have that you can combine and you can waive that monthly fee. If you do want to set up a business premier, if you want to set up a simple business convenience checking account, you could have a monthly fee of $25, or if you just have $1,500 daily balance between this account and a TD personal checking account, you could waive that entire fee. So I just literally shared with you how to set up a business banking account for free. All you got to do is have $1,500 between that bank account and the personal one at the time I'm recording this video. Now, don't quote me on this. Go and check out their website. Obviously, go and do the research yourself. And like I mentioned, I'm not an accountant, CPA, and I obviously don't represent TD Bank, right? I'm not interested in that. So anyway, but if you want to sponsor me, great. That'd be awesome. So if you want to set it up, all you gotta do is click open accounts. You come here, you're gonna have to enter some information related to your identity. You're gonna enter some information related to the bank, business bank account. And this is probably the point when you're gonna really want to think about having the EIN, having an operating agreement would be one of the things that a lot of business bank accounts will require you to have, and also really specifying the separation that you want. So a lot of companies, or a lot of banks will allow you to have the personal account and also the business account in the same dashboard on your web account, but just making sure that it is separate in terms of legal status, and also the fact that if you do want that you ask them as well. So you're going to link it. So here's some basic information like selecting business, where you're incorporated, all this kind of stuff, and you'll have to just go through this application. I will let you do that on your own time. So my man, we talked about number one, which is how to set up the entity. Number two, how to set up the bank account. Number three, let's get into how to set up the accounting for your business. Now, my friends, accounting is literally one of the most boring subjects out there. It is literally like watching paint dry. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people love accounting. Accountants love accounting, right? And that's good because we need people who are smart that actually do that work. But for me, I find it just so freaking boring, man. I want to be out there creating products. I want to be out there helping people change the world. I want to be out there marketing the heck, getting attention, driving traffic, getting people funding. My passion is marketing, sales, crowdfunding, right? That is what I love. Other people obviously love accounting, but I think it's a little bit boring, right? So that being said, how do you make this as seamless, painless as possible so it's not like it's pulling teeth, right? Going to the dentist, it's one of those things you gotta do. You know what's good for you. You definitely want a dentist who is knowledgeable, but you don't want to actually go there and sit in that chair. So how do we make this not like pulling teeth? Well, one of the easy resources that I discovered that I actually use in one of my other businesses is this app called Wave. So you come here, Wave is basically this tool which you can use. It's a free accounting software. So you can use this in order to track your income and expenses. It's really great. And it does have standard, accounting kind of parlance, standard accounting when it comes to formatting. You can see your balance sheet, you can see your cash flow, you can see your P&L or profit and loss statement. You can track all of that. And I think that for a beginner, for someone who's just getting started out, this makes it really easy. I think it's actually a really great tool. I use it in one of my businesses, and it actually, to me, it's quite simple. And it's actually something where even if I wanted to do it myself, I think I could very easily. So there's a lot of great reporting, very simple, good user interface. So when it comes to this, you can see that the accounting software, invoicing software for US only banking software is 100% free. So there's no trials, no subscription, or no hidden fees. So again, if it's US only banking software or accounting software or invoicing software, it's going to be 100% free. Now, there are some premium features like online payment processing. Let me see if I can get this a little bigger. Payroll, which is usually, paid service, and also personalized bookkeeping and coaching. That's going to be more of a premium feature. So if you want to do online payment processing or payroll, for example, you have a W-2 employee of some kind, you're then going to have to use the premium feature there. So I think that if you're kind of a beginner or you're just kind of getting set up and you don't want another, maybe you just grab that incfile premium package that I mentioned before, and you don't really want to continue to have expenses come up when it comes to your P&L. I think you could use Wave. I think it's very simple. I do think there are a few downsides, and I will talk about that in just a second. But for the vast majority of people who are beginners, who are just trying to grow their sales a little bit, launching a product, got simple accounting, I think that you can definitely use Wave to simplify your accounting. And it's also something usually that accountants can eventually help you with, or porting over maybe to their tool at a certain point in time. So you're going to get the P&L, you're going to get the cash flow, you're going to get the balance sheet, all the things that you really need to get set up and running. Now I'm going to mention one other tool, and this is going to be the last one that I mentioned on this video. So thank you so much for sticking here with me. Now this is the granddaddy, right? This is the big tool that the big boys use when it comes to really running online businesses, when it comes to setting up a profitable e-commerce store, when it comes to launching a Kickstarter campaign and growing a brand out of that. And that is QuickBooks. QuickBooks, my friends, is like the advanced accounting tool for those of you out there that really want to go big with your company or want to set up the foundation for the future. And you're like, you know what? I'm willing to learn QuickBooks, or I'm willing to work with a bookkeeper who can help me learn QuickBooks because I want to set it up right. I don't want to have to maybe someday transition from one tool to another. I'm just going to go dive right in, and I'm going to go with the best, which is QuickBooks. Now, I have tried out other online bookkeeping tools, and there are some that are good for certain specialized industries. Maybe if you have like a service-based business and are just kind of invoicing a couple of different clients. But for those of you that are really trying to have inventory, you're trying to grow your brand, you're going to have maybe eventually as well employees someday. You're going to have individual, freelancers which you're paying, and you really want to track all of that, and you want it to be done right, and you want to have an advanced tool, and maybe also a bookkeeper at some point in time. This, my friends, is really the only one that's out there that I found to be sufficient when it comes to having the functionality and really having all of the information which is available. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about some of the different features, and then I'll talk about one or two benefits. The drawback being it's a little bit more complicated. Typically, you are going to at some point need a CPA, or you're going to need a bookkeeper to help you as well. So we're going to go over just a couple of different things. First of all, you could start with this simple start features. This would be $15 a month. I'll include a link down below because again, we do have a partnership with QuickBooks where if you actually go through this link, we'll get a small commission at no expense to you. But however, I do want to be honest, and I want to say, I think that if you're just doing something basic, like you're just doing the simple start, I think it's actually more worth it just to go with Wave. I don't think it gives you a tremendous amount of more information. You can do things obviously here like contractors and estimates and some stuff, but really, I think you could use Wave if you're going to be just doing the simple start. I did start with QuickBooks on the simple start, and I think then the essentials were now on the advanced plan, but just getting started, it was a decent tool. We did like it, but the whole interface between simple start and advanced changes. So it can be a very big learning curve. So I actually think that if you're just getting started, Wave is a better choice when it comes to that. If you're trying to get more sophisticated and more advanced with your tracking, and this is really someone who, again, wants to invest in their business, I do think at that point in time, setting up a little bit more in the way of a plus or advanced plan is going to help you tremendously. Now, here are a few reasons why. Number one, you're going to get get more users who can help you out. So for example, bookkeepers or assistants, people who are going to be able to help you with your books and make it so that you're doing the things you need to do and spend most of your time growing the business. The next is that you have time management. You can see here employee time by client or project, and you can automatically add that to invoices, for example. You also have inventory, so tracking products, the cost of goods, see what's popular, create purchase orders, manage vendors, and also project profitability. These are all very powerful tools. The other thing would be business analytics with Excel, employee expenses, batch invoicing, right? These are definitely the things that a big boy, big business, someone who's really trying to grow something large is going to be more interested in these kinds of features. However, once you get off the free trial, it does get a bit pricey, right? When it comes to that being as one of the items on your line item when it comes to doing your books. So I think that for a lot of people out there, you're basically deciding between Wave and maybe the Plus, I would say is the most popular, or the Essentials plan, I think are great ones for when it comes to setting up the business. And we'll include a link down below at crowdcrux.com/QuickBooks if you are interested in that. The other big thing that I like is payroll, the payroll feature. Again, that's a paid option with Wave, but it can make it very easy to do your payroll, so that way you can pay people on time and you don't have to worry about it. You kind of automate that. So at the end of the day, this is going to be a personal decision, but at this point, you now have two tools, one which is free, one which is decently inexpensive to really get your infrastructure up and running. And that way you can start to have orders come in, really just flowing in the door to your bank account. You already have your business entity, you got your business bank account, and you got your QuickBooks. So now I'm going to mention one final thing, and this is probably the most valuable message of this entire video. So the last thing that I'm going to mention is that don't use these items as an excuse not to take action. And if you feel like what you don't know is holding you back, if you just want more of the puzzle pieces filled in, if you want someone who's holding your hand every step of the way, if you really want to be able to hit it big with a crowdfunding campaign, with a Kickstarter campaign, when it comes to setting up your business, selling products online, you want some guidance, you want some expertise. You also want someone to look over your strategy and maybe even help you out when it comes to helping you execute different pieces of the puzzle, maybe help you as a digital marketer on your team, or even take this all off your plate. We can talk about all of that in an individual one-on-one coaching call with me. So if you're interested in learning more about booking an individual one-on-one coaching call with me, all you got to do is go to the link down below at crowdcrux.com/coaching, fill out a little bit of information there, and you can get your call scheduled ASAP. And again, these are intensive coaching calls. They're designed to be not only useful, but to also dramatically push the ball down the field. And I'm telling you, whatever you're trying to do, at the end of the day, building a business is kind of like being an Olympic athlete. You have to wear so many different hats. You have to wear so many different types of mindsets when it comes to growing and building a business. And you want to make sure that you really have access to the best guidance. So that way you don't hit a ball, for example, like if you're trying to go to golf, you could just have one minor adjustment in your golf swing and man, you could get a hole in one. It goes straight down the path, right? So really investing in yourself, I think is one of the biggest hallmarks of the people that we've had on my podcast, the people that I feature there, which I publish a version of that on YouTube, as well as the people I talk about in my book, different entrepreneurs who I've coached over the years, different people I've helped with execution. It's all about investing in the business, investing in yourself, and really putting yourself in the best position to be successful. So again, that link is down below, crowdcrux.com/coaching. Thank you so much for watching this intensive class, this longer video. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you liked my communication style. If you do, hit that subscribe button so you get more notifications from me. Give me a thumbs up, leave a positive comment down below, and go and take some action. Again, my name is Sal, and I'll see you next time.